Now, everyone here is probably well aware of how incredibly broken Renewal Grasps are. Whether you're using them to dominate in PvP, or alternatively getting dominated by them, we've all seen them and we're all very familiar with them. But now, DMG has all but confirmed that they are gonna get nerfed. I mean, look at this. It's literally just, they're nerfing it, but I'm not allowed to say so. So of course, that means in the next week or so, we won't have to deal with this menace anymore. So the question is, once Renewal Grasps are gone, who's going to be the one to fill the vacuum and cause some top tier controller spikes? And today, I think I've got that answer for you. So this time, you can be prepared when the new meta comes around. No more being pushed around by cheesy meta users who only use that which takes no skill and yet somehow does the most damage. No more! Tonight, the blueberries begin their revolution. And now that I've got that off my chest, I can answer the long-awaited question of just what this mystery item is and why it's another goddamn stasis exotic. So enough stalling. The exotic is a Warlock Arms exotic called the Osmiomancy Gloves. It was just added with the release of Witch Queen. And of course, what they do is they buff the Cold Snap grenades. Because what else would they do? First of all, how they do that is they give you 2 nade charges that recharge quicker on direct impact, whatever the hell that means. And they also provide enhanced tracking, which sounds actually horrifying. Because if any of you play Crucible in those first few weeks of Beyond Light, back when Cold Snaps were first added, you'll remember just how absolutely painful they were to play against. People would just be getting frozen left and right. It was ridiculous. And whenever you saw a Cold Snap get thrown at you, you had to just book it or else that shit's gonna find you and surprise! Now you're stuck in place. Of course, Bungie eventually nerfed them by stomping on the tracking for them, so they weren't nearly as potent as they used to be. But Osmiomancy Gloves gives the tracking range a pretty decent buff, so they're still very much a menace with the right build. Side note about the double charges though, in PvP that second charge does not carry over and the game will take away extra energy at the start of every round. But you still do get some use out of it, because if you have a full nade and then another half charge, and you throw your grenade and the round ends, you'll still keep the half charge. So that's going to increase your grenade uptime for a bit and allow you to use your nades a little more liberally. Now, of course, because you get to use the funny ice subclass, you get access to several useful aspects and fragments. For PvP, you're going to want to be running the Glacial Harvest and Ice Flare Bolts aspects, which respectively generate stasis shards when you freeze a target and then create additional seekers that freeze more targets when you shatter the first target. The reason I decided to go with Ice Flare Bolts instead of Frost Pulse is because the Ice Flare Bolts just buff the effectiveness of the Osmiomancy Gloves really well, while Glacial Harvest allows for additional building to be done with fragments, which will bring me to the next section of the stasis menu, the fragments themselves. First, you'll want Whisper of Conduction, which will cause nearby stasis shards to track towards you from greater distances, which will come in handy once you also slot in the Whisper of Rhyme fragment. That's going to give you a small amount of overshield for every crystal that you pick up. And now that we've covered the 2 fragments that tie directly into Glacial Harvest, I've still got 2 more fragment slots that I can just start throwing shit into. So to find the most effective mods to fully optimize my build, I designed an incredibly complex and intricate method in order to determine which fragments would be best for PvP. No, 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 yes. No, no. And as referenced by my previously aforementioned gamer selection method, you want to grab the Whisper of Torment, which just gives you grenade energy whenever you take damage, which is a pretty nice bonus. But next up is my personal favorite, the Whisper of Rending, which grants bonus kinetic damage to frozen targets. And as you can probably imagine, it pairs pretty well with an exotic whose sole existence is just to help you freeze shit. So all in all, that pretty much sums up why I think Osmiomancy could very easily be up next in line for one of the most annoying exotics to run into. We'll probably have an arms lost sector soon, so go grab that shit. Now, as you're probably all sick of hearing by now, I do have a Twitch channel that I stream 3 times a week on, and I actually stream right after I upload videos, so chances are I'll be bringing my Osmiomancy build into Iron Banner right after this goes up. Or if you don't think you'll make it to that one, here's my schedule for the rest of the week. I've also got a funny little Twitter where I either hold serious discussions about Destiny or say the dumbest shit known to man. There isn't really an in-between there. So I appreciate y'all coming to check out the video. Got uploads coming out every Wednesday, and I'll see you next week.